welcome to Are We the Only Ones? I'm Kathy, and today I'm going to talk about the case of the 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton in South Carolina who was shot in the back, accused of shoplifting water bottles, and accused by the store owner, Rick Chow, of brandishing a weapon and pointing it at Rick Chow's son. And he's alleging that the 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton was brandishing a weapon at Rick Chow's son, and in his defense of his store, he shot Cyrus. But the shots were in his back as he was running away. The shop owner was found not guilty in South Carolina by the jury. And the final facts of the case were that Cyrus was not brandishing the weapon, but the gun was found next to his body on the ground. So the investigators are saying that it fell out during the chase as he was running away, which means that he did not actually pull the weapon, and he did not shoplift the water bottles either. There was a report that he had returned the bottle, so he had not shoplifted them. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I want to talk about this, because I had noticed on my threads that there was a large discussion that was very complex and nuanced online between the Black American community and the Asian community. But note that there were also people of foreign soil chiming in and causing fuel to fire. And I could say this firsthand because that happened on some of my comments in these threads about Rick Chow and about Cyrus Carmack-Belton. One of the things that I noticed, that it's also important that you check when you're engaging on social media about the discourse between boycotting versus some people. I think it is absolutely valid to boycott Rick Chow's store. I think that I personally would probably boycott Rick Chow's store because I think I look at this a little bit differently. It may be very difficult to be a store owner in general, where you have to worry about people coming in off the street. I know that when I work in retail, it's very scary sometimes. You don't know what kind of crazy people come in off the street and start acting a fool. Or I've been shoplifted on. I had clothes that got shoplifted from a sample sale, and my items were worth $150 was the item that that got stolen from me during a sample sale in New York City. So I understand the pain of being shoplifted from, but I also understand sometimes you just take the loss as a business owner and just do the write-off, and that it's not worth all of the heartache that would be caused if you decided to make it a violent situation and turn it and escalate it quickly. I'm going to talk about the facts of the matter. The fact of the matter that the 14-year-old boy was not shoplifting and did not brandish the weapon. I cannot believe Rick Chow did not get convicted of manslaughter. I am in shock when I understand the facts of the case. I had read somewhere that it was not the first time that Rick Chow actually shot somebody in relation to his store and got acquitted for it. So that also is a very weird thing for me to understand, that this guy has done this more than once. What is wrong with this man's character that if you do it one time, if you've taken the life one time to protect your store, wouldn't you really not want to do it again because you've already sort of done your one time? I think there's something really strange about that. And then in terms of like, you know, I'm half Chinese, half Vietnamese, and I'm Cantonese Chinese, so that is like, you know, sort of like, I'm mainland China, but I know that there's Cantonese in Hong Kong. For the most part, Asian culture, you really like avoid all kinds of violent confrontation at all costs. And I think it's out of character for Rick Chow to like, as an Asian person, as a Chinese person specifically, to do that. And I'm half Vietnamese too. Like, so Vietnamese people like don't tend to stand down if they're, you know, but like, you know, we fought colonizers and we won. But even in Vietnamese culture, like, it's not something, well, in the culture that I was raised in, which is predominantly Chinese, Vietnamese, American. But I was always taught to like, that it was almost like in my family, better to be, I love it. Better to not be a confrontational person, better to avoid confrontation at all costs, better to stay safe, better to not like engage in that. So it goes against everything I was taught in relationship to like how we move through the world. You know, learn stuff to defend yourself if you need to, but not like in terms of like, if I just don't understand the mindset of somebody having done that and like over a water bottle. Like, and not only that, I feel like if I was Rick Chow and I had done this and then I didn't get charged, I would just make it a policy that like, if you're a 14-year-old black kid, I'm pretty much just going to give you a free water bottle, like maybe for like the next year as an act of like contrition or something. Or I give his family something, because I just like, I can't even imagine like, how do you make an allegation like that, act on that, kill on that, and then it not be true is bonkers to me. Now that's my perspective. Okay. Now let's move on to the discourse that's online. There are African Americans / Black Americans, because not every Black American is from Africa. Caribbean islands, I see you. What's going on? Okay. So Black Americans are having a political discourse conversation about boycotting all Asians. And there's a lot of Black Americans that are saying, well, that's not, some people are saying it's not realistic. Some people are saying that it's not fair because not all Asians are the same. There's Vietnamese, Chinese, Thai, Japanese, Korean, Laos, Cambodian, Filipino, Taiwanese, Hmong, all the islands, okay? And we're all different, like way different cultures, way different people, way different, okay? And not only that, because in the discourse, I actually feel very blessed, I feel like, to sort of see the change and conversation. It's not, and this actually relates to like my own personal experience. I have to say that when it comes to like race relations in my life, I will say that I've had more negative situations about race where people made me feel like shit, made me feel bad, made me feel less than whatever, but they were Asian Americans that made me feel like that. Asian nationals don't tend to make me feel bad about myself at all. They're usually very like inclusive and want to learn more about like my experience. We talk, we learn about a lot of different, exchange a lot of different cultural conversations and stuff like that. Overall positive. I have had I have had negative experiences with white people, most definitely, growing up. But then those people ended up converting and like being champions. And then recently in Austin, Texas, I did have somebody be very blatantly racist to me. But I'm in this modern day and age where I feel like so empowered that I just look at this guy like, you're such a fucking idiot. Like, I don't care. Right? But that goes to show how progressive the world has gotten, that I can feel that way, honestly. Like, well, someone could say something like that to me, I just like literally don't care. Yeah. But also one of the most powerful, meaningful moments I had that was completely unsolicited. It was just like unprompted, but so real. I moved from New York to LA, literally on January 6th, like I was in the air landing in LA from the East Coast on January 6th during the insurrection, like the actual time, like it was all happening at the same time. So you can understand, like, it was COVID time, a lot of Asian hate crimes are going on. So I go to Nordstrom at Century City Mall, because I lived really close. I was in Westwood, and I lived really close to that mall. And there was an African-American sales girl that was ringing up my purchase. And she decided to tell me something that was so touching to me. She goes, I just have to say something to you. Like, I am so sorry that there are so many Asian hate crimes going on right now because of COVID that are perpetrated by, like, people of my, like, skin color. And I was like, oh, dude, like, you don't have to do that. Like, I don't hold you. I'm not even associating it with you at all. She goes, no, I know, but I just needed to say something because I grew up in, like, the Hollywood area, and a lot of my friends in school were Asian, and they were so welcoming, and their families were so welcoming to me that it hurts my heart to see, like, elderly Asian people getting, like, hurt by people in my community. And, like, I know that that isn't right because, like, I've been treated so well by people in the Asian community. I was like, oh, that means a lot to me. I'm going to tell you, like, you don't have to say that to me. But I will say that it actually does mean a lot to me that you felt compelled to say that. But I want you to know, like, I know everybody's different, and I understand the nuance. I understand the historical significance of funding businesses that are Asian owned in Black communities and, like, all of that. I totally understand all that. But I do appreciate, like right now, like this moment right now, like you telling me that. Like, I really do. I want you to understand, like, I really do appreciate that. And then we left, and it was just like one of those things where I was like, oh, that was so unprompted, unnecessary. She didn't need to feel that way, but it did mean something. And, like, in this moment right now, I think it resonates I don't want people to think that what happens online is like what's really happening on the street, because it's not. It's not. It's easy for people to go online and start talking mad smack to each other, but it's also easy for it to be perpetuated and, like, added either by bots or by people in other countries. So, like, I had made a statement about the Rick Chow Cyrus case before I knew all the facts, and I was just sort of like, I absolutely feel like what Rick Chow did, the shooting information, was, like, suspect AF, and I absolutely support boycotting his business. And, if you feel the need to boycott other Asian businesses, I totally understand. But I think even a better thing would be to highlight, like, Black businesses. Like, instead of attacking Asian businesses, let's just go support Black-owned businesses, especially if you're in the Black community. I think it's so much easier now to support Black businesses because you can go online and you don't have to, like, physically go to the store. You can just, like, buy from them and do orders and shipments and stuff. And I also, like, sincerely, I grew up in a nail salon, Vietnamese. My mom was an award-winning nail salon owner. But I support absolutely, like, I would absolutely go to a Black nail salon. I've had Black nail techs do my nails before on cruise ships. Very common. And I would honestly say, like, the work is good. So, like, I don't understand why you wouldn't if you could. I'm actually I have a list on my threads of Black nail salons, but they're, like, nationwide. So, like, I don't know that I could pinpoint your city, but I'm gonna either post, maybe I'll post and, like, do an episode where I just, like, start naming Black nail salons. I can't vet, like, if they're, like, good or not. I'm just gonna put them out there, and then you guys go and, like, search them out and try them one time. Just give your business to them, and support. I think better than to, there are reports of people calling Asian restaurants up, placing orders and not picking them up. I think that's lame. Go support Black businesses. Don't attack Asian businesses. Not just because I think it's lame to attack Asian businesses, but also because I don't want you guys to get in trouble. Like, I don't think it's necessary to attack a business and then also get in trouble for it. Like, don't do that. Don't get yourself in trouble. You're only going to feed into, like, the system that's, like, already this private prison system that they're setting up. ICE is, like, just, like, it's definitely the new Jim Crow. If you've read that book, the private prison system is the new Jim Crow. And ICE is, like, expanding that, using all of the other sort of, like, not dormant to, you know, the private prison system, but dormant to mainstream America, that we don't realize this stuff is what's going on. So support Black businesses. Definitely boycott Rick Chow's business, specifically his business. Absolutely. I think all Asians would even support that, other than his family. You know, the whole thing is suspect. It makes Asians look bad. Asians are very big on keeping things honorable and, like, keeping a good reputation. So that's also why I'm like, the shooting, multiple shootings, is very out of character unless you're a total psychopath, and that has nothing to do with being Asian. That's just being a freaking mental case. So I think it's important to note that, you know, the discourse online is actually much more cohesive, positive, supportive about standing up for Asians, and from every culture. A lot of African American, a lot of Black Americans are standing up for other Asian Americans and differentiating. And that made me feel like the way that girl made me feel at Century City Mall at Nordstrom. Shout out to her. Turned out we both went to FITM, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. I'm much older than her. But that was the other thing, is I'm older than her by, I think it was like 8 years or something like that. And I remember thinking, wow, you're younger than me by almost a decade, and you're saying this to me. Like, we're going to be okay. The future is bright. And I can't tell you, I personally, the Black experience in music growing up, going to an all-white school in Mountain View, Silicon Valley, it was great to have the soundtrack of the Black experience to relate to. So whenever I hang out and I'm just like by myself, I tend to always connect with people that like rap music and hip hop music. And that can be of any race that's in there, wherever I'm at. But I totally feel that in my personal experience, I've had a lot of good experiences with Black people standing up for other. Even one time I was on a cruise and I was like kind of teasing about this one white boy that was like really energetic about something, and I was like hanging out with a crew of people that were super cool, and they were Black, and I go, oh my God, look at this white boy go off. And my friend was like, oh, nothing wrong with little white boy Joy. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't be teasing. You're right. And that was a lesson to me. Like, it was like, I want you to picture this, like, two people of color, not like serious, teasing him, but the fact that she stood up for him and was like, "Aw, let him have like white boy Joy right now." And I was like, "No, you're right. Yeah, you're right." And because it was like To the Police, the song. It was like not the song. Don't stand so close. Wait, anyway, don't want to get so. A lesson, and just so like you guys know how the discourse really in real life on the ground is, like, everybody of different cultural races are standing up for each other and defending each other to have fun. And another thing that I love seeing is like when I see like people that don't look like they would be hanging out with, especially on a cruise ship when you're like dancing in the nightclub and it's like 90s night. My favorite thing is seeing people of different races come over and dance with each other and like take care of each other and like get water for each other when they don't know each other, and just like dance with each other, make people feel like seen and beautiful in that moment. And they're completely different races, completely different states they come from, because I'll like talk to people and find out, hang out with completely different types of people. And on the ground, I see, or on a cruise ship, which is like at sea, but I get to witness firsthand often, because I've been going on a lot of them. Like in the last 2 years, I've probably been on like 26 cruises, all comp. But my point is that cruise ships bring people from all over the place, And I have consistently seen people, we don't talk about politics on a cruise ship. We consistently like cross over political lines because we don't really talk about it. And then once we get home and we look at our Facebook and then people see what I start to lose friends that are like, that didn't want to say they're Republican on the ship, but obviously they are because they can't handle all my posts, you know. So, but what I'm saying is like in real time, in real life, we all seem to get along and stand up for each other, even if we're different and have different ideologies. So what that means to me is we're moving forward, that even our baseline of where we like are out of pocket, except for with the White House right now, is actually like further progressive than that. Because even like the Trump White House, as much as they have all these policies, they do like elevate people of color into power positions. So it's all very confusing. So that is progress in its own, right? And I mean, I did just find out that the Trump DOJ with DOGE and Elon Musk declared or tried to declare 2.7 million people dead that were legal residents and had American citizenship, so that they would basically trap them into like a Social Security office nightmare or force them to self-deport. And I was like, he would ruin 2.7 million people's lives committing fraud, saying that they're dead when they're alive. So they'd be forced to leave. And then if they didn't leave and they're in the Social Security office, then they would also notify ICE that they were there. So ICE would go and detain them and put them in ICE detention center, which is a private prison system in which they would get paid for each person. And we know for a fact now that they get paid more if people die than if they get medical help. So it's the most Machiavellian, psychopathic leadership we've ever had. It is a Jim Crow private prison system expanded to everybody of every race, just so they can profit off of basically kidnapping people, putting them in their private prison, charging them for it, charging the government for it. And then not only that, they don't pay the bill in the end. So like sometimes like an Alligator Alcatraz got shut down because they didn't pay, I think it's like $1 billion bill that they owe. They're looting all of the, whether it's the Social Security, whether it's Medicare, public school, funding, education, all these different accounts, they're looting them, then charging us for services that they're providing, quote unquote, and then providing them subpar, and then not. It's just the way that Trump has done business. He's applying it to government. And it's just like a race against time of how much damage he can do before he's out of office. And I know that there is a representative from Tennessee that is filing articles of impeachment on Chief Justice John Roberts, which would be a very interesting development. If we can get any traction on that, that would be an important thing for us to have, because we need more serious checks and balances on the Supreme Court, because they're allowing the president to be above the law and break down the rule of law and democracy. And I don't know how quickly we can recover if another pandemic happens and Trump is in charge and he can sort of sequester all of us in our homes. I know what they're trying to do is basically destroy the economy so that the interest rates will drop, so that they can buy everything with cheap loans or with cash in hand. And then as it recovers, they'll make a ton of money on it. But in the meantime, if you don't have enough money to hold on when they destroy the entire economy, to try to then swoop in and kind of fire sale on it and then profiteer off it, you will go bankrupt. That will happen. So it's important to buy local right now. I think it is, man, we're talking boycotting. We just need to boycott every evil power that you can actually like take money away from. You got to start doing that. I'm starting to do that. I think it's important that we reconnect with each other in person and like start doing more things with each other, so that it takes money out of the main like corporate economy and you're putting into like more of a local economy. I think if we talk to each other more, we get I think the race, the mayoral race in LA was very interesting because Nithya Raman ended up taking, I think, the first or second spot with Karen Bass, and so Spencer Pratt will not be in the runoff. He's out. He promised he would leave LA if he didn't win. We'll see if he keeps his promise or if he's like every other Republican right now in modern times and does not keep their promise. Other than Thomas Massie, who they're trying to get rid of. As a former Republican myself, back in the day when Republicans were good, it is extremely disappointing to see the party of financial responsibility allow a bankrupted. Did you know that Donald Trump's planes, when he had a Trump airline, were repossessed on the runway of LaGuardia? Bro. That's why you couldn't have Spencer Pratt run LA. He didn't even buy himself fire insurance for his home. Like, do you know how stupid you have to be not to buy fire and home insurance for your house? It's the biggest asset of your freaking life. Like, you know how dumb you have to be? And you want to run to LA? There's no way that fool would know what to do. Okay, there's no way. So, good job on you guys, LA, for not allowing that to happen. And it also shows that on the ground, what's really happening is not what necessarily the media is reporting, because Fox News is trying to get you to believe that they're correct, so that maybe you just go vote with them, but the reality is that's not what's happening. America is not as stupid as the media tries to portray it to be, and that's a very beautiful thing, okay? Yeah, I mean, all I can say is this. The races are looking better. I think the governor's race in California, look, it takes a little bit of time to count these ballots. I'd rather them take their time and do it where we know it's accurate. We trust the process in California and not have it like super fast. So any questions about that? If Republicans always have to say that something's rigged or whatever, it's because they're rigging it. There's more evidence of the Republicans rigging races and using Elon Musk, and like where he knew he called a race 3 hours early for the presidential race for Trump 3 hours earlier than the rest of us. How did he know that? There's more shady stuff like that. We know that Trump has paid people advertising on Craigslist to come show up to his rallies. We can see that there's barely any attendance anymore for Republicans. I think the truth of the matter is Americans are Americans before they're Republicans. And the people that seem to be like making Donald Trump into a god, they're idiots. I mean, what are you going to do? There's always going to be a percentage of idiots. Okay? At least we have them earmarked. We know who they are. Okay? So, do fun things with those idiots. I can go to Disneyland with people like that. I can go on cruise ships with people like that. I can gamble with people like that. I can play pickleball with people like that. Other than that, do I have people like that in my home? No. Do I shop at their businesses? No, I don't. I think it's fair. I think the Great American Boycott is on. I think the true Black and Asian allyship is unifying in boycott against any perpetrator that hurts either of our groups in a negative way. And then we support each other knowing that we actually have like a really great alliance if we can like unify. And actually, if we could really unify, we would get so much done. We would get so much done. I'm just saying. All right. Tell me what you think. Tell me if this resonated with you. Tell me if you have insights on your experiences with conversations about Rick Chow, conversations about Cyrus Carmack-Belton. 14-year-old should have never been shot in the back over a bottle of water, period. If he didn't pull the gun out, then I don't know why the shopkeeper who has responsibility as the business owner, responsibility as being the elder, especially in Asian culture, if you're the elder, bro, no. That is totally antithesis of Asian culture in terms of elder to youth. Are you kidding me? You kidding me right now? Let me tell you what is common. If this guy, Rick Chow, was not giving out red envelopes with single dollar bills to the entire kids, all the kids in the neighborhood during Chinese New Year, that dude was so not within the culture of Asian culture at all. That's like way Not cool. So I would like to know, did he ever do that? Then we can tell you. That is so not Asian to do that. Like, Chinese New Year, you'd be giving out red envelopes to the kids in the neighborhood if you're business. It's what you do. You're supposed to do that. It brings good luck and good fortune. If he wasn't doing that, I'm just saying, that's a freaking benchmark for us. That's for real, for real. All right. Give me a like, follow, subscribe on all of the platforms. Send me a question if you want to talk about a show topic, and tell me if you think that this is helpful, because I want to know. All right, until next time.